in any moment now. So go live, I've clicked the button. Welcome. It's Valentine's Day, at least it is here in New Zealand, and gradually it will become Valentine's Day through the rest of the world. And Valentine's Day, it's about love. And when I looked up quotes, and I looked up the word quotes about love, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of love quotes. Love is the one thing that we all want, that we're all seeking, that we want to experience. And we're working with these energies right now of the Aquarian energy. So many planets in Aquarius. We've just had the new moon in Aquarius. Saturn, Jupiter, a lot of Aquarian energy. And Aquarius is very much a kind of a more detached energy. And when there are so many planets in one sign, it's really important to look at the opposite sign, which is looking for attention, which needs some focus. And the focus of the opposite sign of Aquarius is Leo, the heart, the love energy. So we're dealing with the heart energy and remembering to engage the heart energy. And so many people at this time, I can remember Valentine's days when I was much younger, and I used to get a few Valentines, and that was all very exciting, but there were times when I didn't get any. And I can remember feeling really devastated. Oh gosh, nobody loves me. Nobody wants to be with me. Oh, thank you, MJ. I appreciate that. So if we can be reminded at this time, how can I show you some love? Who needs a little bit of love right now? I'm reminded so much of that lovely quote of Piglet, who very much is the Aquarian energy in Winnie the Pooh. Piglet, who's always asking questions and always a little bit more logical, says, how do you spell love? And Winnie the Pooh, who's much more heart energy and not so logical, who says, you don't spell it, you feel it. So we're working with these frequencies. And I'm wondering, how are you working with these frequencies right now? How are you working with somebody who you experience a coldness with, where you really want to feel warmth? So it's this heat of the sun. The Leo is the heat, the warmth, the heart opening energy. And the Aquarius is the brain, the mind. And using it to come up with solutions to things that the heart wants to create. We've got a lot of fixed energy right now. Most of the planets are still in fixed signs. So you might be feeling as though things are moving really slowly. Yes, I wouldn't be surprised if you feel that. So just know that by the end of this month, and as we move into March, Mars finally going out of Taurus and into Gemini. And on February the 27th, we've got a Virgo full moon. And later this month, we move into Pisces energy. So we're beginning to move into a more mutable energy, a more flexible energy. But at the moment, the heels are dug in, and you may experience frustration with things that aren't moving as quickly as you'd like to. So I feel that for myself, although I do have some fixed placements in my own chart, so I'm not surprised about this. I want to thank many, many of you who wrote to me with remedies for cat pee in the house that I've just moved into over a week ago. And I've tried just about all of them. I've cleaned within an inch of my life. And I've had to realize that this is not the place that I can stay. I'm looking for somewhere else to move to. Do I want to move again? Of course not. This will be the 5th move in less than 4 months. But to live in a place where I don't feel clean, and the Virgo full moon coming up at the end of the month, which will highlight the areas where you're not feeling clean, where you feel something's not right, where there is a toxicity. So I am looking for somewhere else, and it's going slowly, slowly with all this fixed energy. But I'm actively looking and trusting that I'm going to be guided to a place that will be super duper clean and light and bright and warm, especially for the winter here in New Zealand. So where are you digging your heels in? And you need to release and allow whatever needs to happen, because I was really digging my heels in and saying, I'm going to make this place work. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I've whitewashed the walls, the ceilings, you name it. I've tried sage to vinegar to you name it, and nothing's working. Temporarily, maybe for an hour or two, and then whoosh, it all comes back stronger than ever. So the saying goes, what you resist persists. And I was resisting having to move because it's like, ugh. Luckily, I don't have very much stuff in 2 or 3 carloads. I've moved everything, yes, because I'm just, I sleep on a little piece of foam on the floor, so I'm fairly portable. Thank you, MJ. I appreciate your support so much. I want to say that my lovely soul family, Eckhart and Rochelle, were absolutely wonderful about it. They understood when I told them that this was what I had to do. They knew anyway, vibe-wise, that this wasn't working for me, but I just want you to know that they've been very loving and very supportive and very kind. And I think that's one of the things right now, is to remember to be kind to each other more than ever, especially as we work up to this exact square of Saturn and Uranus on the 17th of February. It's only a few days off, and it's exact, and it's the first square. So it's this very strong one. It can bring earthquakes, tsunamis. Sadly, Japan has just had an earthquake not too far from Fukushima, hoping that there are no casualties at this point. And it's the energy you're working with here is the energy of control, Saturn, and freedom, Uranus. And where do we need sensible controls? And where are they over the top? For example, many people have been absolutely astounded that in the United Kingdom, with the COVID Act, the government can now bring in laws without having to debate in Parliament whatever they decide they're going to bring in. The latest one is a possible 10-year imprisonment if you falsely say where you came from. So if you say you came from Spain rather than Portugal, which is a real COVID hotspot, you might end up in prison for the next 10 years. So we have to look at where are the extremes. This is really extreme energy. And it's not easy energy. It's difficult energy. Now, there can be lots of breakthroughs in this energy, but you've got to make a lot of effort. There's a feeling of like, oh, I'm sort of digging, yeah, I'm chipping away, I'm chipping away. Oh, MJ, thank you so much. Thank you. Another small example would be I've been looking for a good dentist, yeah, finding a good hygienist and dentist. You want somebody who's going to be good but gentle and not sort of beat you around. So this one woman dentist had been recommended by several different people. And she was far, far away, right in the south of Auckland, rural, far, far, in a place called Pukekohe. And I was super resistant. Even on the morning of the day, I thought, oh, it's such a hassle to make that effort. And I thought, no, just go. And you know what? I'm so glad I did. It was a big effort. But as I got out of Auckland and it became more rural and I could see trees and fields and birds, and I landed in Pukekohe, and it's a lovely little village place, beautiful. To my surprise, what I'd resisted, and even better, the dentist was wonderful, the hygienist was gentle, and altogether it was a wonderful trip. But boy, the resistance I had to making the effort that was involved. So is there something you might be resisting that involves a lot of effort? Finding another place to live involves a lot of effort. Kristen, thank you. Lydia, thank you. And I got to do it. And that's just the end of it. So the same with, thank you, MJ, thank you. It's the same with the webinars. We're coming to the end of my first series of beginners webinars. That was a big effort to do that, especially now with all this changing going on. But I've loved it so much. It's been such a wonderful experience teaching the astrology, which I love. I want to teach it to you so that you are empowered and you can have it in your life as a tool. It's great to come to an astrologer from time to time for a reading. But if you've got some knowledge of your chart, you've got some power, some empowerment for yourself. And that's what's strong. And now here I have another hump. Tomorrow we have the 6th, the final webinar. Thank you, Tanya. And when am I starting the next 6? Because many are asking and want it. And, you know, the instinct would be, oh, let me just take a little break. No. With all this energy, let's be persistent. Let's not give up. This Saturn square Uranus is the bit of you that says, I want to explore something new. I'm excited about the new, which is the Aquarian, which is the Uranian energy. And the Saturn, which says, oh, hang on a minute. Are you sure you want to do that? You might not see any results for a long time. So Uranus is like rushing ahead and Saturn has got the brakes on. So talking about brakes, I had quite an experience again of this thing to do with authority and kindness. Thank you, who ate my hat, thank you. So I had a whole day of viewing various properties, seeing places, thought I'd found somewhere great, and that hadn't worked out, and then another one not worked out. And I was just on my way home, and it was like, oh, just want to get home, and I just kind of home. Where is home? And all sorts of thoughts flying through my head. And I was driving along quite fast. And I could hear a siren. It sounded like an ambulance. And I thought, say a little prayer for somebody who might be in trouble. And then all of a sudden I heard a louder siren, much louder. And I'm busy driving away. And then I look behind me and I think, oh my goodness, it's a police car. And he's after me. I thought, oh, bloody marvelous. Here I go. So I stopped, I sit in the car. I waited for him to come out, of course, like you do. And he comes up to me and he said, do you realize you accelerated over 70 while I was following you? You went faster. And literally, I just burst into tears. All the emotions were up, and I just said, I am so sorry. I said, and you are absolutely right. And I could see, he was like, what to do here with this woman? So he said, have you got your driver's license? I said, yes, I gave it him. He looks around the car. He sees the bump that I had on the rental. He said, is this your car? I said, no, it's a rental. So he comes back to the window and he said, where are you going to? And I told him. He said, well, you need to slow down or you're going to cause an accident. I said, you're absolutely right. And I just, still sobbing. And he said, okay. He said, I'm letting you go. He said, drive safely, drive slowly. And he was really kind, a real compassionate, kind, and even handsome policeman. So I think it's how are we using power? Sometimes when you do have to put your foot down. The neighbors were having a very, very loud party and it was after 11 at night. And I phoned the noise council, who did in fact come out. And within a very short space of time, it was nice and quiet. So where are the times where you've got to just say it? Thank you, Seth. And where are the times where you just need to give a bit of leeway? Looking at the bigger picture, if we look at this whole COVID thing, and please know that I'm not taking any sides here. I'm just here being an observer and looking that certain countries we're looking at vaccine hoarding. Certain countries want to keeping the vaccine for themselves, which is precisely the thing that's going to cause the COVID to last much longer. Apparently there is a new possible strain now in Uganda, in Africa. And of course, Africa will be way at the bottom of the list of countries that will maybe get this vaccine. But by hoarding it nationally, it's not going to work because the virus is everywhere and it'll keep changing and changing. And especially even more so as we get the mutable signs, the Virgo full moon at the end of the month, Pisces energy. We've already got Neptune in Pisces. We've got the nodes of the moon in mutable energy. So don't be surprised if there are more mutations. But then we need to mutate and be willing to share and be willing to be kind to one another. Or we're going to have this for a very long time. And I think we can choose. And I say this on a personal level and on a wider level. I'm so grateful to you, my soul family, who I really feel helping and supporting and loving. And at the dentist even, the dentist, she had an assistant. I never had this ever before in a dentist. So she was drilling me and the assistant, Shirley, was stroking my head, just stroking me. Are you all right? Holding my shoulder, gently. All that beautiful, feminine, soft, nurturing, loving Valentine's Day energy. And immediately you relax. Doesn't matter what's happening. You relax because you feel nurtured, because you feel cared for. So these are still difficult times. I know they are very difficult times. for all of us in just different ways. So let's see if we can. On the one hand, you've got to take care of yourself. I read a great quote today. Help someone, you earn a friend. Help someone too much, you make an enemy. So there's a fine balance between that open-heartedness of absolutely, let me do this for you, let me do that for you, and then having overstepped the mark and not taught somebody or helped somebody to be independent and do as much for themselves as they can so that you get stronger. So I think it's time, at this time now, we're moving into this Virgo Piscean energy. And Virgo is about the practical details of your life, cleaning out. God, don't talk to me about cleaning materials, but I'm just looking for a clean place. That's all, clean. So what do you need to clean out in your life? What is toxic? It's very evident what is toxic here around us on our earth and the things that we've been doing. There's a great fear of toxicities coming from the vaccines, fear of toxicities of this and that and the other. But what can you clean out? As we move towards this Virgo energy, it's about taking care of the smaller details of your life. Yes, the smaller things, those little things that really matter. When you come to the kettle and the kettle is empty again, and the person before has not filled it up. Just those little things. They might seem silly little things, but this Virgo energy is very much about taking care of the details. Lovely Rochelle, when she folds clothes or she folds socks, she's a Virgo sun. They're like a masterpiece, literally. I don't even want to wear them because they're folded so beautiful. I don't want it beautifully. So what can you do? What needs taking care of in the smaller details of your life? And the Piscean energy is remembering, once you've done everything you know you can with those details, to trust the angels, the higher powers, that the universe has got your back. And yes, it is a good time for detoxing mind, body, and soul. Yes, it is. So I'm reminded of a Thomas Edison quote who says, when you have exhausted all the possibilities, remember this, you haven't. So let's look for new ways in which we can love one another. Valentine's Day, somebody who may really need love, who may be alone at this time. If it could just be one kind word, one kind sentence, and you can change somebody's life path. I was listening to Oprah, another lovely Aquarian, interviewing Jane Fonda recently. And Jane Fonda had all these insecurities. She was anorexic. She didn't feel as though she'd been loved by her mother, who was bipolar, who her mother committed suicide. Quite a history. And she was in these acting classes and always sitting at the back, always frightened to come out and frightened to do anything. And finally, she did come out and she did a small act about tasting an orange and being able to act about what did it taste like. And the producer, the director, came up to her and said to her, "You really do have talent, Jane." And from that moment, something changed for her. Her life changed. The one sentence. So you could say one sentence, one word to somebody. You might not know it. Thank you, MJ, who's saying beautiful things here and so supportive, and so many of you doing that. You might just change somebody's world. And you might not know that you've done it, and that's okay too. And I must thank Lucy, who is just wonderful. I'm so fortunate that she reached out. The moon's in Aries today, so reach out. It's a fire energy. Lucy's in Aries. She's got a lot of fire. She takes the initiative. I'm so fortunate to have you as my assistant, and she's here on the lives here. Thank you, thank you. She's asking you to like the video, so I'd appreciate it if you would like the video, because it brings more of our soul family online with us. So I just want to thank you all for being here. Teddy says thank you. And just remember to be kind. I'm sending you much, much love. From my heart to yours. Bye for now.